Hi everyone, this is Carol and Speaks the State of Our World on Tuesday, October 19, 2021. So what is it? Good, bad, or indifferent? All three. Okay, some of the major headlines. Reluctant Warrior, an examination of General Colin Powell's bloody legacy from Iraq to Latin America. And Second Chance, deported to Haiti, immigrant activist Jean Montreville returns to U.S. on special parole. Okay, let's see what's behind all that. Okay. General Colin Powell has passed away, and he has quite a legacy. He's best known for giving false testimony to the UN Security Council in 2003 about non-existent weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, paving the way for the U.S. invasion and occupation that would kill over 1 million Iraqis. Powell, who was the first black Secretary of State, the first black and youngest chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and the first black Secretary of State, first black National Security Advisor. He passed away yesterday, Monday, due to blood cancer and Parkinson's disease that left him vulnerable to infection from coronavirus 19. Tributes have poured in from top U.S. officials, U.S. leaders in both Republican and Democratic circles on Monday. But in other parts of the world, Powell is remembered very differently. We speak with journalist and author Roberto Lovato and Clarence Hussein, activist, journalist, and political science professor at Howard University. Hussein describes Powell as a complicated political figure who leaves a complicated legacy whose public image was in conflict with many of the policies of the party he supported and the administration in which he was involved. Assessing Powell's role in U.S. invasions around the world from Vietnam to Central America, Lovato says he's made a career out of being a good soldier and supporting U.S. mass murder around the world, but evading the credit for it. Okay, that's very unfortunate. He definitely has blood on his hands. Now, the other headline about Second Chance, deported to Haiti, immigrant activist Jean Montreville returns to U.S. on special parole. In an exclusive interview, we speak with Jean Montreville, an immigrant rights leader who was deported to Haiti in 2018. He returned home to New York and reunited with his family Monday on a special 90-day parole. He hopes to stay longer. Montreville was a founding member of the New Sanctuary Coalition, which worked with families and for freedom to engage churches in immigrant defense. ICE targeted him for his activism using a decades-old conviction as pretext to deport him. In his first interview since landing, Montreville tells Democracy Now! He will continue to speak out and implore the current administration to take a second look at their policies and to stop deportations to Haiti. His longtime lawyer, Elena Das, said, "We don't believe that anyone should be targeted for deportation, to be jailed, to be taken away from their family, to be expelled from this country because they have chosen to speak out." All right. And what are some of the minor headlines? Trump sues to block release of documents to Congressional Committee on the January 6th riots. He will fail. FDA panel recommends a third shot of Moderna COVID-19 vaccine for certain groups. Okay. Colin Powell died of COVID-19 complications after blood cancer left him immunocompromised. Senator Joe Manchin wants strict limits and work requirements for child tax credit. Well, work requirements for child tax credit, but then if you have to work, how do you take care of your kids if you can't afford child care? Justice Department asks Supreme Court to halt Texas' near total ban on abortion. Well, they refused to do it initially, so I don't know if they're going to come back in and say and block the ban on abortion in Texas. I don't know. SCOTUS decisions bolster doctrine of qualified immunity for police officers. What this means is that it will help police officers accused of excessive force escape liability in civil lawsuits. The court's unsigned decisions bolster the doctrine of qualified immunity, which shields police officers from lawsuits. That's nice. So they can get away with anything. Okay, now, what else? Qualified immunity. Kenosha, Wisconsin police accused of deputizing white nationalists ahead of shooting deaths. Yes, a Wisconsin new lawsuit accuses Kenosha police of deputizing armed white nationalist vigilantes during protests over the police shooting of Jacob Blake. Video from August 25th, 2020 shows Kenosha officers giving out water and praise to vigilantes carrying high-powered semi-automatic rifles. The lawsuit was brought by Gage Grosskreutz, a protester shot in the arm by 17-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse, who also fatally shot 2 people with an illegally obtained assault rifle. Rittenhouse faces homicide charges in a trial set to begin on November 1st. So he commits murder, and he gets to, live. The trial doesn't start till November. Okay. Now, Venezuelan President Maduro says U.S. kidnapped diplomat Alex Saab. Okay. He's a Colombian businessman and Venezuelan diplomat. He's a close ally of Nicolas Maduro, who was taken from the island nation of Cape Verde and flown to Miami over the weekend. Saab was apprehended without any proper legal basis, as the U.S. has no extradition treaty with Cape Verde. So I don't know. Saad was previously detained in Cape Verde for over a year after his private plane made a fuel stop en route to Iran, reportedly to buy humanitarian supplies. The UN Human Rights Committee had called for Saab's extradition order to be suspended and said he'd been denied treatment for his cancer while jailed in Cape Verde. Okay, Saab appeared in Miami court and is facing corruption charges. So who knows what's going to happen with him. Okay. Biden administration plans to spy on caravans of asylum seekers in Latin America. Department of Homeland Security is planning to build an intelligence gathering cell to closely surveil the movement of groups of migrants in Central and South America who may be making their way to the United States to seek asylum. DHS officials are also seeking to establish aerial surveillance of trucks and migrant camps across multiple borders and increase collaboration between Central and South American authorities and U.S. agents. The cell was reportedly reoperational by the end of October. This comes as some 90,000 migrants hoping to reach the U.S. for refuge remain trapped in the southern Mexican city, Tapachula. This is terrible. They're going to surveil these people across the borders. I mean, that is really disgusting. Okay. Protesters block Miami port to demand end to Haitian deportation flights. I totally agree with that. Everyone's entitled to seek asylum. Indigenous Amazonians sue Ecuador to halt oil drilling and mining plans. I totally support them. The government of right-wing President Guillermo Lasso want him to halt his plans for massive expansion of oil and mining extraction in the region, endangering millions of acres of pristine and sacred land and the livelihood of indigenous nations. So hundreds of indigenous elders and youth arrived in the capital of Quito to file the lawsuit with Ecuador's highest court. I hope the indigenous peoples win. All right. Now, tens of thousands of Italian anti-fascist protesters rally in Rome. Apparently, Italy has problem. The right-wing extremists smashed into the offices of Italy's oldest trade union organization. So Italy has has right-wing extremists too. I guess we all have that. New York City taxi drivers will go on hunger strike to demand debt relief. Taxi drivers are required to have a medallion they put on their vehicles in order that licenses them to carry passengers. But the cost of medallions has skyrocketed, and these people who have bought the medallions have gone into debt. So we really have to do something at that. And then they're competing with companies like Uber and Lyft, which treat their employees like trash and denying the real taxi drivers a decent living. Okay, now gutting Democrats' climate plans. Manchin opposes renewable energy program reconciliation bill. Thank you, Manchin. Manchin wants strict conditions on child tax credit, which has lifted millions of kids from poverty. There shouldn't be any limits on the child tax credit. FDA panel unanimously recommends booster shots of J&J COVID-19 vaccine. That's nice. Bronx man dies of COVID-19 1 hour after release from Rikers Island. Very nice. They didn't take care of him on Rikers Island. COVID-19 cases rise in the UK and Russia. And Melbourne ends world's longest lockdown. That's nice. Good luck to Melbourne. All right, so that's a lot of things happening. And what are we going to do about all this? Well, clearly, we have a lot of problems. So let's see if we could find some solutions. Okay, now, take one little break. We'll be right back. Okay, how about a little music? Here's a very old song. It's called He. He can turn the tides and calm the angry sea. He alone decides who writes the symphony. He alone can hear a child's first prayer. He da 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 da. I believe for every drop of rain that falls, a flower grows. I believe that someone in the great somewhere hears every word. Every time I hear a newborn baby cry, or touch a leaf, or see the sky, then I know why I believe. All right, you got two for the price of one. Thank you for tuning in this evening of Tuesday, October 19, 2021, for another meeting of Carolyn Speaks State of the World. Hope you join us again tomorrow evening. In the meantime, stay safe, wear a mask, practice social distancing, only get when you have to. When the vaccine is available for you and it's safe for you to take it, I would take it. I had mine on May 17th, and I had two sore arms. I had mine May 27th. I had two sore arms, and I was tired for a week, and then it was fine. The coronavirus is still with us. It's an epidemic, and it might become a pandemic, which means that it'll always be with us like the flu. So take care of yourself and each other. And remember, kindness goes a long way. Kindness goes a very long way. Thank you. Stay safe. Good night.